Hello everyone! Have you ever asked yourself, how can a program sing? Well, my name is Lisa and today I will answer this question and introduce you to Vocaloid, a technology that synthesizes singing. This presentation will be interesting for anyone who wants to learn more about audio synthesis. There will be three parts. First, I will explain the basics of the physical side of music and how a melody can be synthesized. Then I will talk about models for speech synthesis. And finally, I will tell you about Vocaloid and will try to explain its popularity. Please save all your questions for the end of the presentation. Firstly, to understand how a program can sing, we have to quickly run through what melody is made of and how a computer can create one. I'm sure all of you already know that any sound is a wave. The amplitude of that wave corresponds with volume. The larger an amplitude, the louder a sound. The volume of a note usually has four phases: attack, start of the sound, and rapid increase in volume. Decay, volume slightly goes down. Sustain, volume remains stable, and release, volume drops to zero. Frequency determines pitch of the sound. High frequency waves create high pitches. In music, each note has a corresponding frequency to it. Combining sound waves of different frequencies, we will get more complicated sounds, such as harmonies and chords. But how can a program know what notes are played if all it gets as an input is just a sound wave? Well, for determining frequencies and therefore pitches of the sound, we can use Fourier transform. Fourier transform takes audio from time domain to frequency domain and calculates how much each frequency contributes to the original sound. And using inverse Fourier transform, we can turn an array of frequencies into an actual sound. But songs are not just melody, but also lyrics. Let's now talk about speech synthesis. Source filter model is used to make a sound wave that imitates phonetics and pronunciation. It's inspired by the human speaking process. Sound is produced by vocal cords and goes through the acoustic filter of the vocal tract to form words. In the source filter model, the original sound wave is filtered through some pattern that describes how a person would pronounce the desired phonetic element. However, the sound produced by the source filter model sounds very robotic. To fix this, concatenated synthesis can be applied. This model relies on the database of pre-recorded sounds of human speech. To synthesize the new sentence, it would be split in elementary phonetic elements, and corresponding audio samples would be combined into one sound. This model sounds more alive, but also more choppy. Now let's talk about Vocaloid. It was developed by Yamaha and combines all of the described technologies. Its first version was released in 2004 and by now it has nearly 100 different voice databases and supports Japanese, English, Korean, Spanish and Chinese languages. Let's listen to a short example of what more recent versions of this technology are capable of.
Note.
I would say it's pretty impressive, but still sounds a bit artificial. To explore the popularity of this technology, let's take a look at a graph of new songs created with the use of Vocaloid each year. The number of songs fluctuated a bit at the start and increased to 12,000 by 2010. Then the popularity was slowly going down to 7,800 new songs in 2016. With the releases of first Chinese and Korean Vocaloids in 2017, the usage of software started to increase again. The numbers of songs continues to rise, reaching a peak of 22,000 new songs in 2022, corresponding with the latest update of voice databases. The next year's number only decreases by 500. So why do people use Vocaloid so much despite its artificial sound? First of all, the Vocaloid software is highly intuitive. Composers don't really need to know music theory to write a song. In fact, some Vocaloid producers have no musical education at all. Secondly, the producers feel free to write about sensitive topics that most of the singers would be uncomfortable with. As a result, a lot of Vocaloid songs have dark lyrics, but it helps to explore parts of human experience that are not covered by traditional music. And lastly, unlike people, Vocaloid has no limits in vocal range or speed. It can easily take the highest note imaginable and rap fast without having to take a breath. Overall, the popularity of Vocaloid can be explained by the unlimited creative freedom it gives to producers. I am now nearing the end of my presentation, so let me summarize what I talked about. First, I explained how a melody can be synthesized with the use of inverse Fourier transform. Then I introduced you to two models of speech synthesis, their advantages and disadvantages. Combining smoothness of source filter model and natural sound of concatenative synthesis, we can get the best result. And lastly, I told you about Vocaloid and reasons for its popularity. So by now I hope you have a pretty good understanding of how a program can sing. Thank you for tuning in. Please feel free to ask me any questions.